J. Nelson here.
Hey!
372 pages we'll never get back. It's been 372 days since we did this podcast.
Yeah, ooh.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Spicy right off the bat.
It is. It's been like one of those like Broadway shows where they like do the first broadcast of it, the first show, and then they're like, you know what? Rosie O'Donnell as the Cat in the Hat was a bad idea. We're going to retool this thing and come back to you in a month and a half or something like that.
Yeah, our hiatus was dark and ominous. Like, yeah, we're retooling the sitcom, but it'll surely be back on must-see Thursdays. But we are back. We did.
Yes.
This time we are. The odds were against us. You might see, if you're a video subscriber, which is a very small number, that's fine. You'll notice I'm in a seated position.
Yeah, why is that?
I had a little mic fall down, go boom. I feel like a little bit of a Larry King situation where it's kind of, me looking down, kind of like, hey, go ahead, Cleveland kids. Larry King, right off the bat.
I thought you meant Larry King sitting behind home plate in the Dodgers games, which in his final years,
melting and
you'd get to inning 5, and it would just sort of be like, is he still there? Like,
did he have a hat? I can't remember if he was trying to.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that hat thing where it's like it's Larry King. He's like right behind the batter.
Very hard. Give him a pull up. Urkel. Come on.
And they probably had one of those like beaded seat things that they like set him into it, so that's why he was sliding down. Like how those the vinyl gets a little slippery of the leather, and so he just somebody pull me up. Go ahead, Cleveland.
Well, during your fall down recovery, I was posting some stuff to try to keep people in the loop here, and I posted a rant about a brand of socks on our Patreon. And the very first comment, a guy before he could have even possibly finished listening to it was like, "The Rooneying is strong here." So we've been Andy Rooney and Larry King on the thing, and that's our natural progression, I think, into full Waldorf and Statler. Commenting on these books, I guess.
Hey, I was telling a friend the other day, where was this? Oh, maybe it was, they wheeled me out to a wedding, and one of the dads just did like a classic dad joke, like 120-year-old, just like vaudeville joke. Place just goes bananas, like the guy's taking bow after bow. Now, this is a wedding, it's a friendly crowd, but still, I was like, the old jokes of just keep those coming. They seem new to these kids. I saw just like 20-year-olds just like delighted. I've never heard that before.
Nice.
So I say, keep it going. Larry King and Andy Rooney all the way.
Why not? Well, I'm glad you're doing better enough to record. It was a lonely time without you, and I hope we remember how to do this podcast. It's probably the longest break we've ever taken.
I don't remember the book, so I'm going to leave it up to you. I picked it up yesterday. I did finish like a couple chapters, so I was like, wait, who's this now? Who's this Jake Cardigan fellow? So why don't you bring us up to date?
Well, who is this in this book is a very reasonable response, regardless of physical health or how long you've been since you've read it. Because as you mentioned last time, quilters push back level amounts of characters, which are continue to be thrown at us this time. Mm-hmm. But here's my summary. We've done 11 chapters. Tek Kill by William Shatner is of course the book. Jake Cardigan is at the moment hanging out with Casey, who is the daughter of a futuristic Rush Limbaugh named J.J. Bracken.
Oh, okay. That's where we are when we pick up in
the book. Yes.
Jake's
boss, I think Walt Bascom,
the owner
of a detective agency who sleeps just in a nightshirt, no pants or underwear or anything like that. Presumably Ebenezer Scrooge cap, maybe some bunny slippers. He's just down with nothing below the belt.
Winnie the Pooh.
He has been framed for the murder of Dwight Grossman, who he was I don't remember what his job was, but his sister, Susie, is a former tech addict who's good friends with Jake's son.
It is sister. That's right. I was going to correct his daughter, but then I have my notes here. It is sister.
Yes.
And she has the visions. The tech visions.
Yes. She is, I think, currently missing or something like she's about to. Anyway, she's good friends with Jake's son, who Zach is his most hated character in all of fiction. I forget his name, though.
His son is Dan, isn't it?
Dan Cardigan. He also
16.
has a girlfriend, 16 years old, a junior detective.
Yeah, anytime you bring a kid into a series, you've ruined it, obviously. So Dan does not break the mold.
Yes. And then Jake's partner, Gomez, has been going around doing some investigating, which has taken him to a robotic butler factory where he was attacked by robotic Mr. Belvedere's. And he has then put on a clown suit to go investigate a toy shop. So he, I guess, is doing like sort of comic relief scenarios here, if you could describe them as such.
And then speaking in that weird pidgin English that he does is not attractive.
Yes, he speaks in italicized Spanish, very, very multiple times a sentence, perhaps, as he does these investigations. And then the other plot point is that Grossman's assistant, Dwight Grossman's assistant is named Hermione. They were having a romantic relationship. She is also now missing. So I think that is the sort of first lead everybody's following here.
Hermione is who again? I'm looking down my list of things.
Dwight Grossman,
Hermione
who was murdered.
Earnshaw,
Her
Dwight Grossman's assistant.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also some tomfoolery where another member of the detective agency is sort of doing the shadowy payments from a unseen figure, maybe to disrupt the investigation. We don't know. That comes up later.
What do you peg the count as? I'm probably wrong because again, I'm in and out of this book.
I would put it around 40 at the moment.
Okay, that's about. I have 35.
Okay.
I have two Sams, by the way, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, it doesn't help that there's Kay and Kayla and Kaylee and busty robots and stuff like that too, who might not have names.
Casey and KC and yes, okay, but
okay.
And K. All right, so we're up to. But speaking of my first note, by the way, if I'm allowed, and this note was made, before I fell down and shattered and had metal implanted in my body, so I can whatever
making you, on your way to becoming a robot pimp. I think
exactly. I will be able to shock you with my leg. It's very inconvenient, but it works.
You're going to be a ship of Theseus into a robot pimp.
Yes. This is our intrepid Sid Gomez, using the language to its fullest extent. Corky tells me your specialty is providing information about technically skilled hombres who do illicit futzing with vid tapes. A lot of language happening in that terrible sentence.
So you think that most of the time Gomez is speaking in sort of like a Yiddish New York accent, but then he lapses into the Spanish.
Well, I feel like he has to make the shift at some point if he's going to talk about you futzing around. What are you, a putz? What are you doing here?
Jake Cardigan lapses into this later. He starts calling the bad guys. He has I forget what vagrants or hooligans or something like that. I forget what he does. But if you start reading these characters in that language, it might make more sense why they sort of have this old timey speech to them.
I know that we've gone to that a lot, and I heard in my head the objection to it, like it's supposed to be funny. It's like I know that it is, but it's just without any explanation, it is still amusing that they do it. They lapse into 30s language, words that have never been used. Like I understand that they're transmuting it, but still, we can pick on it.
Speaking of quote, supposed to be funny. What did you make of this exchange? Gomez says to the person that you said he was talking to earlier, you're the owner here? Probably. Why do you call the business Einstein Inc.? Because I'm Einstein. Milton Einstein.
I don't know.
Okay. So does he go to Rogers Heating and Air Conditioning and say, why do you call it that? And he says, because I'm, Jack Rogers II.
This is one of those cases. I think this happened the other night where I put on something and I'm wheeling around on my knee roller, trying to sympathy here, people. And my wife is watching something that's supposed to be funny. And I realize it's been like 20 minutes of doing this and that. And I go, don't hear you laughing a lot over there. This book is like, I know that's supposed to be funny. I don't hear you laughing.
Right.
It's what I tell a friend of mine who tries his humor on waitresses and stuff. Like, they're just confused and they hate you. Is that humor?
Yeah. Have you achieved your goal here, sir? Einstein jokes.
I was trying to be funny. Like, yeah, but it didn't land. It's time to workshop that, man.
I just hope that we get to see someone's obviously fake Facebook anecdote that ends with, and that little boy was Milton Einstein. That would make me happy. Gomez is looking into, he is talking to Milton Einstein. He says, do you know who faked the Bascom tapes? And what they're trying to do is they're trying to prove that these tapes of Bascom shooting Dwight Grossman have been faked, which everyone sort of assumes is the case because, you know, this happens a lot, I think, in the future. There's just very convincing deep fakes and robot android replicas and stuff like that. But I just thought it was funny that, you know, they have to do this whole charade, even though they know these tapes are fake, to find out who faked them instead of just being like, oh, sure, like they're fake. Like, let's just continue researching who obviously is the real killer.
I mean, also, wouldn't it be at this point in time with this much, what year are we again?
I mean, I think it's 100 years in the future. Like, it might be the late 21st century.
So these fakes have been around forever and ever. And also there are androids that look exactly like humans. So there's nothing... There's no need to fake anything, that it would never be admissible anyway. So like all these cops, like, it's you, there you are on the tape. Like, damn, who faked this tape? Like, right. we have been doing this for 87 years. Could we please not pretend every time it happens that this is something new that we...
Right, yeah. Actually, the 39th Amendment has prohibited video evidence from being entered into a thing because it's obviously so faked and easy to fake.
Yes.
I did like this response when Gomez asked for a name and Einstein says it was Avram Moyak. Yeah. And Gomez's response is, this just rolls off the tongue. Mm-hmm. I thought Moyak was a SoCal tech professor who worked undercover for the greater LA branch of the Office of Clandestine Operations. He thought that. Hombre is how I meant to end that sentence.
Yes, young actors going out on stage. I have a reading. This is Sid Gomez from I Thought Moyak Was... Stop! Next, please.
He has to do the Tay-Zonday, turn away from the mic to breathe in halfway through the... I watched that video like last week. Somehow it came up. It was on my mind.
Get out.
I mean, I don't remember why, but I got back from my vacation and I was like, well, I got to make sure the Tay-Zonday video was still on YouTube.
That is an important thing to check on. For some reason, we watched the surfer interview thing. Well, boom, and then you just get pitted, so pitted. Because it came up, and then my son was like, can you still find it? Or is it all like auto-tuned into non-existence anymore?
I like to think that after the dad gave his wedding toast and left to Eddering, applause, and he hugged his daughter, you were just like there tapping him on his shoulder to try to get him to watch the... Dude, so pitted surfer interview video.
It'll just take a minute. Just watch.
Hovering over his shoulder. I guess you'd be hovering, to the side of him. But so then this guy says, hey, this guy left. He's a tech overlord, and he's headed to Texas, Sweetwater, Texas. And so that sets the stage for where Gomez is going to have to go.
By the way, if you were wondering, and we've had a lot of Texas on this podcast, but Texas is muy grande. So just if you live in Texas, look around and you can see in every direction. It is. You're right. It is right. Muy grande.
It is. And it evidently still retains just normal place names. So it's not the Sweetwater section of Texas or the Sweetwater sector or anything like that. It's not like, the greater Dallas-Fort Worth militarized zone.
Which, by the way, every time it comes up and they talk about a zone or whatever, it does not seem to change from the current the Los Angeles of whenever this was written. Right. Like they went to the Santa Monica district and like the same hotels are there that were there in like 1997, like, okay.
Yeah. When the Garbage Men gangs took over West Hollywood, they renamed it the Trash District. I mean, something like that. Like it's. So then it cuts to like a meeting with Bascom, I guess. Mm-hmm. Bascom is talking to he's talking to Kay, who I think that's someone that sorry, that Jake Cardigan is dating.
Yes. She owns her own agency, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they must have got together in a sort of just a interagency meet cute in an earlier book.
Mm-hmm.
They go over the fact that, like, so far nobody thinks those tapes aren't authentic, including your own experts. We know the damn things were rigged, so we'll eventually prove it, he said confidently. And then he says, give me more background on Dwight Grossman. She says, I only went out with him 7 or 8 times over a stretch of 2 or 3 months, but it didn't take much to get the guy fixated, I guess. Doesn't really seem like an only, does it? That's like you see someone every weekend for 2 months. It's like it's a very serious relationship, it would seem.
I only went on very long vacations with Army Hammer. I did not in any way have a relationship with him. Oh, yeah, that is. So she's on the Vox box or something, and he's talking to her.
Sorry, yes, I guess he's no. They're in the same car. She's in the pilot seat and they're driving along.
Oh, the Vox box.
The Vox box does start talking to them, yeah,
and shows the future.
Yes, the Vox box shows them a presumably, is it the future or is it just another sort of deep fake that they're like, we're going to release this next one?
Oh yes,
type of thing.
I assume it's another deep fake.
Yeah, and I think it makes, this is always the telltale. We touched on this last time, but the deep fake that the Vox box is showing you, the blonde attorney stopped, turned abruptly, and said, "What's wrong, Walt? Why are you here? You were still sleeping with that bastard, weren't you, Bascom?" In a rumpled suit, was stomping closer to the frightened woman. So when his suit is rumpled, that means it's the fake Bascom. It's I'm sure you didn't, but in that Nolan movie, the one that came, Tenet.
Oh yes,
they did some. They obviously, some focus groups could not tell what the hell was going on, and so they had to be like, "All right, so the team that's going backwards through time, they're the orange team. They will have some orange stuff on their arms. The blue team is the one moving forward through time." So when Robert Pattinson, when there's 2 of them on the screen, like they pretty much like laid that out with like Charlie Day at the yarn board, being like, "That one is this one. He's going back through time this way."
Wow, a rumpled suit is, it's a small clue. I would prefer a hat, a mustache,
sure.
a dog, a cat, or something.
All of them. I mean, that would be just carrying all 4 of those things.
Yeah, like has a thing for Mylar balloons. Like, oh, okay. Instead of like rumpled suit, and you're looking at I assume the video is 280p or probably 280i, probably. It's interlaced, so you're like, is the suit rumpled?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Guess it is.
And yeah, like cars have pretty big video screens in them now, in like a Tesla or something. So I guess by the future of this book, the whole screen, the whole windshield is going to be a screen you can see through. So you'll be able to pick out individual, folds in his jacket and stuff like that.
Sure. I have a screen in my early 2000s Toyota Highlander.
Okay.
Settle down, everyone. I know. It's pretty exciting. And when I bought it, the guy was like, and it was like the last year of the Toyota navigation system with the screen in it. And the guy was like, "This baby does pretty much everything." It is, of course, turned off at this point and does absolutely nothing but take up a big space in my dashboard.
We're going to brick this for your benefit, sir.
Yes. You could get the navigation CD at the time if you wanted to, but it was like $2,000 or something. So this baby does everything, and shut it down immediately.
Yeah. That's you showing it off to someone who then pulls out like their very first Android phone that came free with a Verizon contract. They're like, "Well, I can do it free on this thing. Like this thing has a trackball and it can still do it."
This is showing me the actual traffic flow. Mine it doesn't know that there is a Walmart here. Whoops, yeah. All right.
It did drive me into a river like Michael Scott.
Yes.
In this vision, Baskin calls Kay a bitch, a lying, unfaithful bitch, and then shoots her with a las gun as he snarls. So it's fun. And then the Vox box essentially says, like, "Thought you might like a glimpse of the future." So okay. I assume it is, being like, this is what you're in for, type of thing.
This is the charge we're going to put against you. And then the people who make the deep fakes, like, we always get our stuff from the dark web.
Yeah.
So it is just what people do. We can't edit what they do. We can't give them notes on it.
Correct.
We just pull it from the dark web. if I were going to give notes on the people doing these deep fakes, I'd be like, bitch, lying, unfaithful, bitch. Why don't you just cross out 2 of those words?
Yeah, sure.
And let's take it again. Here we go.
Right. Yeah. You can, this guy's rumpled, but I don't know if he's a snarling bitch kind of rumpled.
Yeah, it just seems too strong. I think the 12 jurors will go like, yeah, that looks like deep fake to me since we've been around them for 87 years.
That was clearly made by a 13-year-old YouTuber who just learned he can say bitch. Well, the next chapter begins, I think it struck me as like we might be having a little bit of a crossover here.
I was shocked, yes. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
The jungle was 11 levels below the ground. Under the Glendale sector of greater Los Angeles, it went stretching away for several acres beyond the elevator exit. A perpetual sunlight illuminated the sky above the intricate tangle of trees, leaves, fronds, vines, and flowers.
What is happening here? I mean, if you saw this in one book that we read, you'd go, okay, that's crazy. If you saw it in 2, but we read them 7 years apart, you'd go, that's nuts. But this is just like contiguous books. We're just always reading about underground jungles.
I mean, we can only hope that the annoying son of Jake Cardigan will be slapped, much like the teens were in the land of the Mopek.
Oh, please!
If we ventured there,
I would just I'd re-break my leg on live for everyone.
Wow, that's the I think we started the video tier after that, and I think that's one of the great losses in podcast history. We lost a live show one time, but we've lost your reaction to that boy being slapped by the person. I mean, maybe we'll get it now just remembering it. But that was, an all-time moment.
One of my favorite things.
This unfortunately does not go necessarily in the Mopek teen direction. It instead evolves into a racist militia,
yes.
Which is, I've got to say, credit to the author, didn't see it coming. Didn't anticipate the Tech War series going in that direction in book 8.
I didn't see that, but before we get to the racist, we do get, because they haven't laid it on thick enough yet, she produced a small Plaz rectangle from her slacks pocket.
Slacks is SLAX, yeah.
Yeah, whoever put an X in their title, their business should be taken from them immediately.
But it's not a capital S, so it's not like a brand name. Yeah, oh, got it. Well, that's the thing. This is 80 years later. It's been played.
That's true.
But I did have that marked as a dumb sentence of the week. So.
Oh, sorry, I burnt it. Yep.
No, it's fine. But she is producing that small Plaz rectangle from her slacks pocket to talk to a member of the Pure California Coalition, who asks if they can see her Jake's race card, because he wants to know, you a Mex? So it's a future racism kind of thing, and she says, we aren't either of us Mexicans, which is the most convoluted way to answer that question.
The race card too. Again, I guess we're supposed to laugh, like playing the race card.
It's become a real thing, haha.
It's real. I mean, it's the kind of laugh where you go, okay, if that's a laugh, like okay, then fine.
Sure, it's no Filbert Einstein or whatever the guy's name was.
Yes.
But which one?
No, I just realized that's why the futzing. I guess Sid was trying to talk to him on his level. I don't know.
Boy,
I don't know. I'm just trying.
A lot of credit you're giving.
I know.
And they, she says, they let her through because they produced their race cards. And Jake says, do you think they'd shot me if I turned out to be Latino? And she says, there's nothing wrong with being proud of one's ethnic heritage, Jake. You forget that all the people who don't have all the privileges and perks that do need something to give them satisfaction and a sense of purpose. You see, and I just was like, I really honestly can't believe this is becoming a plot point. We had robot pimps not 7 books ago, and now here's her.
But then you said it never went in the direction of, land of Mopek and all that. But I would just want to point this out. It was edging so close to it. Off among the tall, shadowy trees, imitation birds called, and now and then, monkeys seemed to chitter. Was that chittering a language of any kind, perhaps? Getting close to English or broken Spanish? Or maybe Yiddish? I don't know. We'll see.
I wish I could remember the monkey's name. Was it Gorgo or was it something like that? Gordle the gorilla?
Gordle the gorilla.
Oh, man. Oh, I miss them. I miss Larry and Denise. I hope they're doing well.
I think we should all try this right now, by the way. Dan poked his tongue into his cheek for a few seconds, eyeing her. Could you poke your tongue into your cheek, please?
Sure.
Which, again, I think it's pretty close to like a 30s kid with a slingshot and and driving his cart down the street. He lets his hoop roll into an old lady and, I never. And then he pokes his cheek.
Say!
There's more where that came from, you dame. So,
I think if someone did that, I don't think these two are going in a romantic relationship, but they're sort of doing you may not like it, but I'm your damn partner. And if someone responded to that by being like, he'd be like,
what
is everything okay?
What are you doing?
Is there something like a sore on the inside of your cheek? You should get it checked out.
Yes.
Here's another one of your. They're down there, by the way. They're in the land of the Mopek, searching for Hermione Earnshaw, Dwight's former secretary. I think that was sort of that they clarify that here. I don't remember if that was specified as to why they were going down there.
I think she's hiding out or something amongst them?
They thought she had disappeared. I think maybe fearing she was next.
Okay.
Then it cuts to Dan, Jake's son, as Molly is coming to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan informs their house robot or whatever to lock up the house, tell my dad I'm off gallivanting with Molly.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that has become some teen slang for something awful in the future, or maybe he's just talking like the woman in the Marx Brothers or something.
Yes. What is her name? Oh man,
Margaret Dumont.
Margaret Dumont.
You two are gallivanting in the captain's room.
I saw her recently in a non-Marx Brothers role. It's like, is that even possible? It's like seeing an albino squirrel. You're like, hey, look at that! Squirrel is completely.
Don't see that every day.
She was exactly the same. So,
no, that's good. It wasn't. And so they are concerned about their friend Sue Grossman, the tech addict who she had a vision in the very first start of the book.
Yes.
And they're concerned because she doesn't get along with her stepmother, June Stackpool.
Yes. And that's the thing where, so I think this is Dan who says it. There was some kind of fracas.
That's a good one. That's when you hear a sports, like a baseball announcer will trot that out when there's a bench clearing brawl. Oh, there's a fracas that went on there. A fracas at Donnybrook's happening. There's a big old flesh pile on the mound.
Donnybrook, yes. Extracurricular activity on the field. But this is a thing you don't get wrong. Anyhow, there was some kind of fracas or fracas.
I don't know.
Leave it up to you people. Between the two of them. And this woman, June Stockpool is her name, I think. All right.
It would be weird to get someone.
Harry Farthead is his name. I
think it could be.
Sure.
It could be John Smith too. I'm not sure.
I get those so.
Picking an insane name and then being uncertain about it.
Yes.
Come on. Well, yeah, she got into a fight with her stepmom, maybe knocked her out, and then has fled the scene. And they are concerned that she's taken off to her favorite tech parlor in the Pasadena sector. So they're afraid that all this June Stackpool stepmom drama has maybe caused their friend to relapse.
Oh, so down. Wait, where are they? Oh, they're in like a drug area, right?
I think that Molly just picked him up, and they're heading out to visit the drug area because that's where they think that
the
Susan
Pasadena
has ran off to.
Sector.
Yes.
Okay. By the way, the Stackpool witch.
They also call her a nasty woman.
Yeah, I think that's her name. This witch. this nasty woman. Like, hey, if you don't even remember my name, you can't remember details of how awful I am.
Yeah, really. And like, really, do you need to know her full name? I was 16. I'd probably be like, yeah, Jen's mom's being a bitch. Like, we should go. I'm not going to say her whole name. Like, what are we talking about?
So they're 16.
Yes.
And so I think this is a high-end drug place. I'm catching up on this. They're going and busting into it? Molly said, we won't be that flamboyant. This isn't a raid after all. However, Dan, my dear, if Susan is inside that place, I mean to bring her out. So she's going in blasting.
Yeah. They are junior detectives. I don't know if that means they've been issued guns or, training guns type, like they shoot those rubber darts or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Las guns that only, the Las is dialed down to like 10%.
When the little 5-year-old runs up to you and has a little vest on and then the plastic sheriff's badge. All right. Hey, I'm here.
The sheriff is 64 squares.
By the way, one time my son, who's now a grown and married man, had one of those little plastic sheriff's badges.
Okay.
And he threw it like a throwing star at me, and it hit me in the head, and it stuck into my scalp. Like, it wasn't that bad, but I kind of left it in for a second, and he was like, like, see.
You look him in the
Arrested
eye.
Development. That's why you don't throw throwing stars at people's heads.
Make him pull it out, like
Yes.
Brian Wilson's dad making him look at his glass eye socket. Yeah, so they're going to bust in like Michael Douglas in Traffic and sort of like go into this den of sin and try to free her.
Yes.
I do want to point out, just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a sheriff's star. It's not plastic.
Oh yeah, that's
our
the
listener, beloved Jackal Micah gave to me.
Mike. Yeah, I remember that moment.
This would do some damage. This is This is like he had to fake proof that I was an actual sheriff for them to print this up or something. I think Mike committed a felony to get that into my hands. That's
so let's say his name, full
name,
yeah,
right. List his business. So they are. We transition to the next chapter, back to the land of the Mopek.
Yes, the holographic jungle that the Pure California Coalition, the PCC,
yes,
uses as its main base.
Yeah.
What do you got? Jake and Casey are looking. Yeah, okay. I just wrote this Dwight's assistant in a simulated jungle owned by J.J. Bracken. That's the other thing. He owns this.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's harboring the militia. The first thing I noted is that he has this sentence. He circled around to the back row of huts and moved quietly towards the rear of hut number 3. One good thing about holographic leaves was that they didn't crunch underfoot. What are we doing here?
It does seem like a major miss on the simulated jungle creators. This is the one thing we all know about holographic, about leaves. It's kind of like you're playing a video game. You're like, that does not look like the face of a human being.
Sure,
we should just not even try that.
Right. I don't know. That could have been extra money for the leaf crunching DLC. It's just the PCC is going to see how things go with their whole plot to take over, and maybe if the things turn out the way they want, they can upgrade their simulation here.
Yeah, or it takes up a surprisingly large portion of their data crunching, where it's like, the crunching of the leaves take, but
sure, yeah, right.
Like the processor really overheats, and we just switch it off.
Right, it's worse than mining bitcoins to make leaves sound accurate. That's. But so here's what Jake is doing. He's got his stun gun on hand. He dives over the threshold of a hut, which is like his preferred way to enter a dwelling, I believe. He does that a lot, I think. Nothing happened. Silence surrounded him. And then here, let me ask you this question. If you ever entered a house and noticed the odor of burned flesh, what would be your reaction?
Well, human flesh.
So, I mean, I don't think he's being like, oh, that's a Christmas roast is in the oven. I think if you're saying flesh, you're probably going to assume.
Yeah, you would say like, boy, that pork roast smells good, you wouldn't say, I smell the smell of burning
Yeah,
flesh.
unless you're like a giant that is tracking, Jack after he stole your golden hen or something. Like, oh, I smell flesh. Or King Wenceslas, he was always saying, bring me flesh. What a weirdo.
Well, here's what I would do. I'm going to put myself in the mind of a Jake Cardigan.
Okay.
I would notice it. Oh, I'm looking. Oh, he noticed the odor of burned flesh. So yeah, I'm right on with Jake Cardigan.
And then
I notice it. I don't really, I don't have any comment about it.
Well, he does. He responds much like Kevin Costner when his boat sank in Waterworld. He says, it's burned human flesh. Damn. Damn, he said again. He noticed the odor of burned flesh.
My boat. I was trying to explain to someone who had never seen it and was too young, like Waterworld. Mm-hmm. She goes, Waterworld, Kevin Costner, big movie, failed. No, opens with him peeing into a thing, and then he drinks his own pee. She's like, what are you telling me?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to describe Waterworld. She's backing slowly out of the room.
No, it was a big deal. No, we didn't go see it. It was, but everyone knew about it. Come on.
It's famous. It's famously bad. She had never heard of it before. And I was not helping. I was just digging the hole deeper.
Netflix debuted 20 worse things than that this week, sir. We live in a different era of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And then so it is a woman. There's a dead woman all askew on the mat rug, which is one word. And just then, I think this is Hermione Earnshaw, and a police lieutenant busts in and is like, well, there's a body. If there's a dead body, it won't surprise you that Jake Cardigan is around. And he sort of has to be like, okay, come on, like she's been dead, and you can ask the guys at the front that I wasn't here when she died. So the police are always sort of willing to like overlook these things, but then they also get explained away. They're like, oh, it's video footage. Well, it's fake. Okay, the police are just sort of incompetent, but also corrupt.
But it gets to this. I find this deeply frustrating dialogue. What did Hermione Earnshaw know that made them kill her? We'll have to find out. How? Jake shrugged. That's one of the things I still have to figure out. Like, you just said that in the previous sentence. That's what we're here to discover. Yes, okay. New information. What are you going to do about it? We're just going to have to wait and see. Like, all right.
I've got to figure out how to find out. That's my action item for this. As Jake then is trying to figure out what he has to find out, the scene immediately shifts to a ballroom where there are 217 people, to be exact.
A good many of them young, handsome, beautiful, and extremely influential.
Wow.
So a room full of influencers, I guess.
It's a gathering of bored apes.
All of them posting things about which vodka they're drinking and getting $100,000 for it, I guess. I don't know.
It's the Chateau, an airborne private club that circled 10,000 feet above SoCal. So I guess that's it's like a blimp kind of thing. It's just it's a revolving restaurant in the air.
I guess. I wonder if, there's a guy standing behind the pilot going like, hey, man, can you take this down into the jungles below? It'd be kind of fun to just fly around.
He looks to see if that guy's receptacle to go into the jungle. He's like, I got some literature that will change your whole way of thinking if you want to get down there, man. But
the apes are chittering if you're into that. I am.
Yeah. Do the leaves crunch? No. Count me out.
Yeah. Done.
This is, I don't know if the club is owned by them or if this party is thrown by them, but a set of twins, the Burden twins, Roland and Rebecca, who run Newtown Pharmaceutical Corporation. And one of them is Roland Burden, a handsome dark man of 35 who doesn't drink, but he pops pills. I guess his own pills. He gets high on his own supply, which I think is the first thing they tell you to do if you are running some sort of drug operation.
Oh, right. Okay. So, see, I mixed this up when I went into it. Rowland?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Dark Roland to the Airborne Private Club came.
Is twins with Rebecca. I was just picturing who's the again, it's the second time he's come up, Army Hammer, the Fuddledman twins, that he played in
Winklevoss?
Winklevoss twins. I thought they were like twins. Like, should we start a pharmaceutical company?
Yeah.
Sure, like at the same time.
Right.
I didn't realize they were just like, what does that matter that they're twins? If it's a handsome dark man and then his twin sister Rebecca.
Sure.
What's the bang we're getting out of the fact that they're twins?
Well, they do have a saying later that we
good.
I'll just
Okay.
read for you now, but it does. Well, this is a short section. We'll say that, but the twin payoff, the hang time is not very long, so we'll get to that.
Okay. All right.
But they are bickering. They're bickering about the mission statement, like whether he should be taking the drugs, all that stuff. But
he's like, if your earlier thing was like just to put a blue armband on someone and a red armband on another person. He's wearing a black hat and she's wearing a white hat, right?
Right. Yep.
Kind of like, I never thought you would take our business in this direction.
Yeah,
he
strokes his Van Dyke beard. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you didn't think it, but guess where we are now.
But she phrases her argument by saying, "Let me put my request in different terms, Rollo." She cut in, "Take a flying leap for yourself." Damn it! I screwed up my thing. I meant to say. But it seems like it just left there in print. I don't know. But she goes on to say that could be very impressive from this height. I don't know if that's screwed up. To me, it reads like two mixed metaphors there.
Wait, where is that? If you let me put my take.
I request in different terms.
A flying leap for yourself. She sipped water. Like she thought that maybe she could like regain. Maybe I can land this thing.
Okay.
So take a flying. Then
go
she's sweating
take
profusely.
A long walk off make like a tree. Damn it.
Damn you. Damn you.
What was the? I've told the story multiple times. I don't. I go out with my girlfriend, not me. I mean, not you. Damn it. But yeah, so they're upset. Like, I swear to God, if you don't quit this goddamn sulking, you'll what, Rollo? Have a couple of thugs shoot me in the back? He tightened his grasp, then let go. What are you hinting at? You killed Dwight Grossman, she said.
Oh, so more than a hint, then. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes.
Okay.
So when it cuts to these characters that we're meeting for the first time and then has that saying, I guess it's sort of, what was the show that would reveal who did it and then they'd have to solve it? Was that Columbo?
That was Columbo, yes.
Okay, yeah.
The whole first act would be the person committing the crime.
Okay.
And then Columbo would show up. So that was the yes.
Nice. And then aped by Poker Face, that show with Natasha Leo. I guess that was a tribute to that. That's what I've seen.
That was by the way, I tried to explain that to a young person. Like, I was like, who's she's the actress. She was Down and Out in Beverly Hills or something like that.
I don't know. Was she in Waterworld, man? Please leave me alone.
And the person was just like, again, I am backing away. She's got kind of a scratchy voice. She's quirky. She's like, she's in the one that's like a Columbo. They're like, what are you saying? What is the word Columbo? Like, all right, forget it.
I have to post a picture of me drinking vodka for $100,000, sir.
Yes.
We got to get some of these people on so we can explain these things to them. That would be if they're that ignorant.
Oh yes, is that that's our video thing? Like explaining Columbo to a Gen Z.
Yeah, 12-year-old reacts to Kevin Costner drinking his own pee. That might actually provoke that reaction, if it's like, I thought it was going to be the Waterworld scene, which everyone my age knows about.
You didn't even have to AI your hands on the side of your face. You actually did it. Wow.
He just took a break from shooting Yellowstone and did it. But here's where it says that they're twins, where it's important. It says, we're partners, sis, equal partners, he reminded her, leaning over the table. And you know what they say about twins? If something bad happens to one of them, why, the other one feels pain too. Is that something they say?
What's the famous story, the two twins who feel each other's pain? Isn't it like a famous novel? Is it people are going to be screaming at me. Is it Alexander Dumas or something? The two twins who like one gets cut and the other one feels.
I don't know, man. That's from the 1790s. So that's I couldn't take a selfie of it, therefore it's out of my wheelhouse.
I don't think that's a brand of vodka that I promote, so I don't know what you're talking about. That's a weird. I don't think they say that.
Okay.
I know a fair amount of twins. I don't think they say if something bad happens to one of them, the other feels pain.
Yeah, and if they do say that, it just probably isn't true. It's come on.
My mom was a twin with her sister, but they were not identical. So I always thought so that's a ripoff. Like my sister was born. I'm older than her. Like ha ha ha. Like 5 minutes. She was born. Then you look at them, you're like, yeah, sisters, but twins? Come on. Didn't no payoff is what I'm saying.
Probably didn't appreciate that. That's twins. Fraternal.
Yeah, I would do that to my mom all the time. She's like, you call that a twin?
12-year-old reacts to fraternal twins?
My aunt is like...
Chapter 15 then takes us back to, you might want to sit down, folks, an office meeting.
This is like a Riff Tracks movie here, an office meeting.
Yeah, there's an American flag on the wall. It
is
detective
setting their hats down? Yeah, wow, okay.
Leaning back in their chairs going... it's a detective agency office meeting, which I guess is more exciting than a glasses lens company office meeting, but minimally so.
Any office meeting, especially in an earlier one, wasn't like there was an assistant who was like, "Can I get you something?" Like, I don't think that's not very cinematic, like when the assistant comes out and like, we have a water and I could get you a coffee. Like, I'm good, thank you. But you don't want that in the actual movie or the book.
Well, here's the button to press if you change your mind.
Okay, thanks. That's interesting.
Then they sit and wait exactly 3 minutes for the executive to arrive to take the meeting.
Yes.
Well, this is something I first noted that this is the way that Walt Bascom, the head of a futuristic detective agency who sleeps without any pants or underwear on, talks. Mm-hmm. He says, "Whilst I was behind stone walls and iron bars, Roy, you were running things." So he's a whilst, however you say that. He's a whilst guy.
Yeah, that would be one. That seems like something they would call out on Family Guy or something, Whilst I was there. What did you just say? And then do that like 400 times, of course.
But he sort of just takes some office gripes for a while, I think, and people like saying, like, "We're glad you're back, big shooter." Like, that was a scary 24 hours. Really upset that we had to watch that footage of you, walking around hog out. But that's, hey, we knew what we were getting into when we signed on.
And then Gomez, I didn't expect anything less from him. He said, "Welcome back." Like you said, big shooter, welcome back, sports fan, welcome back, hey there, Pippi Longstocking, how's it going? No, welcome back, Hefe. All right. And then Gomez pretended to send him, "I sent you while you were in the lockup. It consisted of roses, violets, pansies," and which I guess is a joke. I don't think he sent that, right?
I don't believe he did. I think that's just...
Sit down and dummy up, advised his boss. So,
he does some light angry chiefing here, sort of being like, get your ass in the chair.
Not a full stick up his backside,
right,
and
where
it hurts, but pretty close.
Jake and Gomez do arrive late, and they sort of invoke the ire of everyone else there by doing that. But Jake explains their late arrival by saying, "When I went to talk to folks at Thelwell, where Grossman worked, I found a hairless lout waiting there to assault me." And that's what I was trying to remember earlier. That these hard-boiled detectives sort of talk like those British butlers that Gomez got assaulted by earlier, the butler bots.
Oh yes, there was a hairless lout who he assaulted me, sir. It's the again rewatch it, kids. McEnroe in his first thing, the line judge going like, "You abused me, sir." And the most British thing ever. And McEnroe's like, "I didn't abuse you. Get the court judge out here." And they wait, and they're all sitting down. McEnroe's like arms crossed, and he like covers his microphone and goes like, "Again, sir, I say you abused me. I did not abuse." It was like, Quick makes a tea and then like has a crumpet and like, "You have abused me, sir."
You are a hairless lout, sir. Well, speaking of louts, grow some hair.
Yes.
And they just sort of like go through what they've already done here, and then they call out Anselmo.
Yes.
I don't remember what Anselmo is. Walt Anselmo, maybe?
I have his name. Hang on. Anselmo is... Hang on, I got a list of characters.
Phil is the singer from Pantera, so it's not that.
Anselmo. Roy Anselmo.
Roy Anselmo. Okay.
He is husky with feathery blonde hair.
Okay, husky, good. Yeah, they've held off on the husky versus trim descriptions in this.
There are only two body types in the future.
But they sort of like say like, "Hey, Anselmo, we're on to you." And he jumps out of his chair. "Hold it, you son of a bitch." So he is quick to rage as well. So he's picking up on the Chief's rage. And they say, "We're concerned about how come you deposited $5,000 in that secret account you maintain in the Laguna sector branch of the bank's system." BANX. These rookies doing this X naming system.
X stuff. Ugh, hate it.
So they know all about his secret account.
But he's not the guy, right? Don't they sort of exonerate the husky, feathery blonde hair guy? Or does that come up? I'm gonna leave it alone for now because I don't know.
I forget which guy was taken. So, but this is the guy that went into the casino and got the $5,000 from the mysterious.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, we had 1 month and a half off, but I think that there's something going on. But Anson, is that a different character than Anselmo?
No, I think they call Anselmo Anson.
Okay. Anyway, Anson says, "I'm tired of all your wise ass accusations, greaseball." Anson, head low, came charging at him. "Violence doesn't solve anything," advised Jake, thrusting out his foot and tripping the husky detective.
Believe me, cabron, I found this all out by consulting 2 very reliable informants and 1 world-class stool pigeon. Kids?
Right.
Stool pigeon? And then I think this ends the chapter. Forgive me. This is a short chapter, right?
Yes.
If I'm jumping ahead, jerk my chain here. Before he could rise, Jake was crouching beside him. He gave him 3 flat-handed blows to the neck. Ba 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 ba. The Gorn captain?
Wow, yeah.
Right? Flat blows. Where you're always like, what is the physics of that? That a guy's going like, he's like, what are you doing up there?
Yeah, at least with the Gorn, maybe it was like he targeted the secret, Gorn submission button or something.
Yeah, but my crotch is up there. Ow.
Does Anson have one of those? So Anson yelped, ganked, and dropped into unconsciousness. So we need to trot out some flat-handed blows in a Rift Tracks meeting sometime. See if we still, have a company after that happens.
I don't see the physics of that. Do you see that working?
It's like, a
flat-handed blows to the neck, but not here. He was crouched, so it's like this or this.
Or a judo chop like this, like a side of the flat hand.
Which side of the flat? That's pretty important.
I don't know. I'm guessing that Jake would probably hurt his hand doing this to Anson.
Okay.
I do want to clarify, though. Anson and Anselmo, different people.
What?
Anson is the one who took $5,000 from a mysterious voice at a casino to get closer to Jake Cardigan.
What?
Leo Anson.
Oh, Leo Anson.
Yeah.
Okay,
Rory Anselmo.
Then there's Anselmo. Then there's also Ambrose. Not that that's, but still. God. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see our confusion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That ends that chapter. Jake Cardigan has knocked out a coworker with 3 flat-handed blows.
Okay. Which side of the hand, we don't know.
No. It then cuts to Susan Grossman, the tech addict and sister of the murdered Dwight, who is driving somewhere into the Eternity Depot in the Pasadena sector. The parking/landing area was thick with sky cars and land cars tonight. So we're in 2024, where you can say this is, 80 to 100 years later. When do you think they retroactively started calling the cars we drive land cars? Because obviously sky cars came out and they're like, well, there's a sky car. This is a car. But, do you think it happened in like 2061?
Well, it's a good question. It's also a question of if your friend like said, hey, I'll pick you up at 6 or whatever, and then he came over and he had a land car. You'd be like, what the dude? I can't get into this thing. Like, yeah, we'll have to drive, and then we have to go up like all these like, switchbacks to get up to the place, to get up to the Eternity Depot.
Does this still have a handle to roll down the windows? How old is this thing? This is older than the Pasadena sector itself. Back when it was still just called Pasadena.
It has one of those big sliding switches things that goes over, and then the vent comes on me only after I like go.
We are pretty much describing one of my cars here, so. And so she's just talking to herself about about her stepmother and her father. She's saying, bitch, how can he love that terrible woman? Which is how I feel about Andy Capp. That's how I.
Well, I just figured so the parking lot is full, right? People are pushing the Eternity Depot. That's I don't know. I guess they're getting their coffin sale or whatever. Isn't that what it turns out to be?
Yeah. Well, yes, I guess so. But it's a coffin sales.
Yeah, it's a coffin warehouse, but it's full. They say they're thick with sky cars and land cars, and so you're in your car going like, bitch, son of a, and someone walking by like, what? Are you talking to me? Like, no, I'm sorry. She's got a really unusual name. I think I can't remember what her name is.
Yeah, except the person that overheard you was like, "You were so young."
Oh no, not.
Did you just call me a bitch?
Not you. I remember one time I opened or I was wheeling a bike down through an apartment, out the front door, and this guy held both doors open for me. And I said, I guess I said it under my breath. I go like, oh, thank you. And then I leave, and then the door's about to close, and he goes, you're welcome, dipshit, or something like that. It was like he didn't hear me say thank you. So I was like, I feel so terrible. Do I like take the whole bike and go like back in the door and go like, I actually said it. You didn't hear me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just
so
sort of muttered.
We
do have a security camera. Let's go. Like, I know the guy. The janitor also runs that. We'll get it. You'll be able to hear me mouth it on the security camera.
Bitch, how can you love this terrible woman? Like me? No,
I did love her, and now she's dead, and I'm buying her coffin. You awful, awful tech addict. So they go into this shop where there's a robot Grim Reaper. We covered this last Reeler fan fiction. There's like organ music playing that I presume is like the Dracula riff. I don't. We should look into whether that's called
Bach.
Something.
That's
is it? Okay.
Bach's Toccata in D minor.
I was going to say there's a very good chance you know what the Dracula riff is actually called. The Count Chocula theme.
Yes.
And then they go in. She sort of like has to speak in code to get into the thing, being like, Roy sent me type of thing. And then knocks 3 times. She goes into the, it's like a private karaoke room, but for using tech. There's a cot with a wide covered with a bright plaid plyo blanket. Next to it on the low table, which rested the familiar tech gear, the compact brain box, the headset, and 5, she counted, 5 tech chips. I imagine most readers, if you read the whole series, are familiar with the tech kit at this point in time. But maybe tech is not actually, scenes of using tech are not that common in the series. Who knows?
I don't know, but I was very happy. I was like trying to remember because it'd been a while since we done like how big is a tech chip? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking chip like, well, you reach into a bag and it's a brand new bag of chips and you get the one that's, like a small dinner plate. You're like,
yeah,
now how do I eat this? It's very satisfying, but it doesn't quite fit. It kind of stabs the side of your mouth. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going through all the chips that I've eaten in my life or that I've used. And then thankfully a couple sentences later, she poked at the cockroach-sized Tek chips. Whew.
Yeah.
I was just like tearing my own hair out. I had all my chips laid out everywhere. Like, what size are they?
Yeah, is it one of those kettle chips that really like folds in on itself and is ultra crunchy? Are we talking like a bubbly Muncho? Or are we like you said, a Tostitos Gold, one of those like old school thick cantina style ones that is you can't fit in your mouth at once?
Are you happy when the chip folds over another chip and then is doubled so there's two chips? I'm always happy.
I'm not happy. No.
Okay, you're not.
To me, it just sort of reminds me that I'm just sort of eating wads of fried grease at that point in time. When they maintain their individuality, you could pretend that's not the case. But once they're just sort of like...
I just like when one goes into the other and it's like, let's do this together, baby. Yeah.
I do like the when one Cheeto gets a little too big. That's sort of just like, that's living like a king.
Yes. And of course, we just want to pass on. We talk nothing but truth here. If you have a potato chip and it's green, those are poisonous and you will die. So
the best way to get free potato chips on the playground.
Yes.
I feel like you don't get those as much. Maybe that's just the high-end potato chip brands I eat in my ivory tower. But I feel like those are
the green potato chips.
You see them anymore?
I think scanners blow them off of the
belt,
exactly. I believe. Yeah,
the technology.
We're in a new era. There's a guy with like a big bag of green potato chips, just going like, "I am not poisoned at all. I'm eating free. Will you?"
They make nothing but the like dark Cheez-Its, nothing but the dark pretzels, like AKA the ones that are burnt. All green Utz would be quite the thing. That'll be my next thing. I want to tour that factory and go. I did tour the X factory. I'll tour it again. But where can I get nothing but the green ones? Get out.
I guess that would be like eating, a scorpion. Like, I can't believe you did it, man. People just like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with green chips.
I'm going to start the rumor that you don't see them anymore because of like fluoride or something. Like it's once they started like, washing the chips in that, it got rid of the green ones. And
I think you just did start that. Yes. Nice. Okay, good.
And now Gomez and Jake are on his balcony hanging out, talking about the meeting they just had, I think. They're sort of recapping it to themselves and for us, even though they have sat through it and know everything they're talking about here. He's talking about how he's going to go to Texas, which the Jefe has blessed him. So
he's using words which, again, I had to dive to the dictionary. Amigo, Jefe, mañana.
Yeah.
I mean, they were italicized, so I could easily search them out. But man, that is tough stuff. Did you get caught up on this one? It's probably a dumb sentence.
I'm sure I did.
Gomez knuckled his misty mustache. What?
That was an off-submitted dumb sentences from our listeners.
Sorry, I'm burning everything. I don't know how to do this anymore.
No. It had to be mentioned. It would have been foolish to leave that to the end. So you knuckle you rub it, but is it misty?
What is
salt and peppery?
Oh, maybe.
It's one of my favorite.
Sort of covered in mist. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been drinking a soda and sort of the bubbles have gathered.
Yeah, if you went out into fog and you had a beard, I assume your beard, would be covered with fog or mist.
When I would run in Vermont, it would get icicles in it and stuff like that.
Yeah, my dad once we went winter camping and his mustache froze
been a month
to his
and a half.
sleeping bags.
No.
Yes. So when he woke up, we had to extract his mustache.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, I've missed those tales.
Yes. All right.
Well, yeah, who knows? Gomez's mustache is misty. His hair is always moving. But so he's going to go to Texas to look for a person who was mentioned once, and we don't really know their role. Jake is going to stay here to investigate more into Dwight Grossman's dealings, which I think he says like he was trying to investigate like a pharmaceutical company. Maybe we haven't got to that yet. I think they said like Dwight was looking into a pharmaceutical company, presumably the one the Twins own. And
the Twins own, yes. And they're doing have we heard the word yet? Isn't it like Syntech or something like that?
We're getting to that. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's a whole.
I'm ahead of myself.
But before we get there, we get a vid phone call. Jake gets a vid phone call. No video, so you can't see who it's from. And guy is being really squirrely, being like, no one can read this phone, right? I have some information about Hermione Earnshaw. Okay, let's hear it. You have to come and see me. Not unless I know a hell of a lot more about you and the setup. Silence followed. Nearly a full minute of it.
I have it right there, folks. You can see it.
And, people, I guess you'd probably think you would go to the dark web here. But I just want to ask you, we're doing one of these calls. My video is blank. We're talking just like we are now. All of a sudden, there's a full minute of silence. How do you react in this situation? How many seconds do you give that before,
Well, we've all seen, when you do have you ever had to do a video feed, an interview where you don't have a monitor? And so you stand there and all you have is your earpiece. That's where they get those. I think there was a movie about it, Feed or something about that, where people just stand there and then they stare into and you're supposed to go, whoa, what a moron. But it's like, well, that's what they're doing. But were that to happen, 5 seconds, you're like, oh, obviously there's something wrong and you're recabling at that point and but a full minute?
You're unplugging your Wi-Fi for the second time by the time the full minute has rolled around.
A full minute? I've thought of, obviously we've done it on purpose, the dead air, but radio dead air. I would tune in, you'd be on a long trip or something, and I'd go I wonder what's on the classical station. The National Public Radio is playing, maybe they're going to do a retrospective on Chopin or something.
Yeah, maybe I can hear that Dracula riff.
And then it's just 5 seconds of utter silence. You're like, what's happening? And that was Chopin's C-sharp minor. This can't be a thing. People have to be clicking it off, right? And driving off the road. It's kind of like at the beginning of movies where they show 37, slates for producer companies or whatever, but none of them have sound. So you're like, okay, how do we lose the sound? Would someone please just play some crappy,
wow sound effect? Yeah. Every one of those should have the sound effect from, remember, A Current Affair in the 90s with that triangle?
Yes.
That should be on,
should have the ta-dum sound when it comes up, but instead you get 12 of them in a row, and you're looking around going, could anyone just put any sound, anything at all up there? So, yes, a full minute is a lot of time.
Yeah. But it turns out that it's a guy named Sam Hopkins, who is a slender black man of about 40.
He's not husky? You say he's slender.
I hate to break it to you. He is the other one.
Okay.
He's not husky. He must be the other one.
Okay.
And he says, I'm staying at a friend's place here in the Newtown sector. And whoa, that's a rough area. Cut in, Jake. A completely private township with his own cops. And yeah, I know. I just told you I'm staying here.
I live here.
And then he says, all right, come and meet me here. I've got some information about who killed both Hermione and Dwight Grossman.
Oh, wait. All right. Hermione, I knew Grossman was dead. Hermione is dead? I forgot.
Hermione was found dead. She was the burning flesh that provoked Jake to say damn, is what she was there. We might not have even mentioned that, but I think we did, that she was the one that was dead in the jungle.
Well, it turns out that Susan's father was a big old fatty. No, I'm sorry. No, he was a trim, handsome man, 45. Of course.
The old coin flip turned up trim today for him.
Yes.
I did look. This is the only trim person in the book. There's slender. There's probably other thesaurus.com results for that, but this is the only trim person.
Okay. Because Sam is slender, right?
Slender, yes.
Yeah, he's slender.
How many slender people are there? 3. There's 3 slender people.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Maybe there's fit people, but Susan's father is upset with his, I guess, wife or current girlfriend or something. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't even real. This is her tech vision.
This is the tech vision thing. Yeah,
she's doing a tech vision. Do you remember? I think it was Star Wars Generations, where like Captain Picard is on some weird little thing like this. There's a thing called the Nexus that takes you to wherever you want like this. It like makes your dreams come true. And Picard is like reunited with his family, I guess, but it's in like the 1870s. It's like a Dickensian thing.
Oh, you're asking me if I remember that? That's literally the only thing I've ever seen from Star Trek was that, where I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
This is what he desires more than anything else: frilly necks and a goose cooked in front of a roaring fireplace. As his boy is like, "Father dear, it's so good of you to join us on this Papa. Christmas day."
Yes. Oh, be merry, everyone, please. Your father has purchased the second largest goose at the shop. This is what you want? This is your deepest desire?
Really? Yeah, come on.
There's some creature like pushing a thing into the stem of his neck with goo coming out of it, like looking at it like, I think I just didn't get this in right. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, this can't be right. The goose? Oh, no, here's the one. This is the one with Victoria Beckham in it. I got it.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is Susan's voice of like him essentially apologizing to her, being like, that awful woman who may or may not be named that thing is gone. Like, I love you, my dear. So this is what she's getting high on tech so she can see. But then the hairless lout burst into her vision and then burst into the room to like abduct her.
The guy with the piping
voice. Yes, he has a piping voice. Yeah. So yeah, they return again to burst in on her and end the chapter.
You want us to kill Julian and your father, kid? His partner, I don't know. Are they like yin and yang? Like, and you ordered 2 of the deluxe coffins for them.
Right, and he's practically cousin It or the Wolf Man. Like,
he's doing.
You're really rubbing it in there, Frank. Yeah, I mean, you're really rubbing it in there, Frank.
Sorry, man.
If I don't brush it, it gets so nappy. It's awful. That's the end of the chapter. Do we want to do fanfic now?
Yes.
Fanfic. Real fanfic. Real fanfic. 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 Real fanfic. Real fanfic.
All right. This is Real or Fanfic, the beloved and slightly revamped for this book segment of our podcast, where our loyal, generous, attractive Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/372pages send in fanfic or real sections from later in Tek Kill, and then they try to see if we can guess which are real or which are fanfic. And this is the first time we've done this together, so we're both guessing this time to make the statistics as accurate as possible, to eliminate the small sample size of me guessing and all this stuff.
Correct.
And last time I think we did fairly close, but I think I maybe got one more than you.
I believe you did.
Just
you think.
Not that we're keeping track. Someone else is,
right.
But so here's what we're going to do. We sent these to Josh and Colette, and she narrated them again to much acclaim last time. We're going to read them again. I believe we have 5, and we will pause after each one to debate, and then she will reveal at the end which ones were real, which were fanfic. But yeah, the Patreon, check that out. We just recorded Encyclopedia Brown with John Hodgman for people on there. We did one with Alex Schmidt of Secretly Incredibly Fascinating. I ranted about socks. It's all happening over there. Go check it out. Here is the Real or Fanfic segment. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1. The android in booth 13 replicated a plump, middle-aged woman. She wore a star-studded black robe and a matching. Inhaling sharply as Gomez slid in opposite her, she pressed both hands to her bosom.
Ah, I fear that the stars do not favor you, young man. Could just be heartburn, Signora. I want to talk to Zodiac Orion.
Close the booth, she ordered.
I am Madame Futura.
Catchy name. He touched a toggle on his side of the table, and a one-way plexiglass screen slid shut around the booth.
Now what about Orion?
Madame Futura rested both hands on the tabletop and spread her fingers wide.
You are not especially popular at the moment, she informed him. Were Zodiac to meet with you in person, it might affect his popularity as well, sabes? Gomez nodded. So, I'm on the shit list in Texas too. In spades, kiddo. Who put me on the list? The android held up a forefinger. You can communicate with him, but keep it brief, she said. Unzipping the front of her robe, she revealed a small view screen built into her chest.
Oh, boy.
Wow,
right.
that is tough. Spread her fingers was getting dangerously close to long fingers.
Yeah.
I wondered.
Spread her long fingers would have been a big tip-off.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
It's tough. We say it now, right?
At
We
the
don't
same
hold
time,
back.
yeah, we'll count down and reveal, I guess.
Okay.
Out.
You ready?
Yeah.
3,
3, 2,
2, 1.
Fanfic. Okay.
All right.
I mean, robot madam after a robot pimp. I just think you doth protest too much.
I don't know though. You got
I don't know.
Sid-
Zodiac Orion,
Yeah.
Madam Futura.
A vid screen, Plasta. Yeah, it's all there.
All right, here's number 2.
Number 2. Jake slid into the booth across from Gomez and said, "What happened to the diet?" Gomez shoveled a forkful of egg sub into his mouth and chewed before saying,
I'm still on it, amigo.
"I thought you were skipping lunch all week." "See," Gomez said, reaching for a bottle of hot sauce and dousing his plate with it.
But this is not lunch. It's brunch.
No.
"It's 1 p.m, Jake pointed out. "How can it be brunch?"
Because huevos rancheros is for breakfast.
Gomez said simply. A thick waitress of around 40 walked up. "Hey there," she said, putting her hands on her hips and staring down at Jake.
Are you planning on eating?
All right.
Ooh, the short.
That sounds like something from Lethal Weapon that got adapted into the future Tek Kill characters.
Oh, that's a tough one. All right, you ready?
All right. Oh yeah, sorry. I should held off. 1, 2, 3. Fanfic. Okay.
Well, we're on the same track at least.
Do you think it was a THICC waitress of almost 40, like that kind of thick? Or
Yes.
all right.
Number 3. Cimarron leaned closer to her. "If you want to keep in my good graces, you damn well better find out what he's planning to do next. And you're going to have to find out, damn." Cimarron suddenly let go of Marnie and pushed her away from him. He spun around, swinging up his metal hand. Gomez, who'd slipped out of a nearby stall to come slowly up behind him, ducked now and made a dive at Cimarron. The black man had a laser gun built into his middle finger. He fired it now, but the beam only went sizzling through the air where Gomez no longer was. The detective tacked the big man around the knees, then brought a fist up into his groin. "Yo!"
Wow, nice yelp of pain.
Give the robots groins. We've said that a lot. Why?
Take the skinheads bowling, give the robots groins. That's what I always say.
Oh,
right.
that one's tough because it's also short.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That is a really hard one. Okay. I'm ready.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Real.
Real.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow, I don't like this. We're in agreement. That can't be good.
That's not good. We're going to take it on the chin here.
Number 4.
Number 4. The huge gunmetal guardbot blinked, which produced a metallic clacking sound. He scratched at his side with dark metal fingers, then rubbed his palm across his domed skull, then poked Gomez in the breastbone. "Say that again, amigo," he requested.
Chihuahua,
Remarked Gomez.
a Mexican bot. ¿Qué pasa, hombre?
"Spare me the greaser lingo, shorty," requested the robot, who was guarding the exec wing corridor deep inside the Techlodian complex. "Just simply repeat what you just now said to me," Gomez said.
7-11.
"So?" After giving a perplexed look to Marnie, who was standing a few feet behind him, Gomez leaned closer to the mechanical man.
It's the password, cabron.
The gunmetal head rattled slightly when the bot shook it,
It was the password, Bato, he told him. Yesterday. Oops, observed Gomez. The guardbot's arm, the one with the laser gun built in, started to swing up. Darn sakes, we got no more time for arguing. Marnie whipped out a stun gun and fired. Madre de Dios, exclaimed the robot, going up on tiptoe for a few seconds before starting to topple over. Gomez caught him, bicycling back as the full weight of the guardbot hit him. This isn't, Chiquita, the stealthy entry into Moyek's lair that I had in mind.
Wow.
Boy, that's hard. Short and long are hard. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Fanfic.
Real. Wow. All right.
Okay,
we differed.
we broken. Here
Damn
we
it.
go.
Oh, I instantly reconsider. I don't know. The Techlodian? There's things I don't understand.
Look.
Right.
Who knows?
Number 5. The metallic operator turned the camera back to Bracken.
Well, cousins, he said, there it seems you have it. Mr. Bascom claims that he and his incompetent crew of loony liberals at the Cosmos Detective Agency are completely innocent of this Mr. Grossman's death. And we believe him, don't we, cousins? After all, Mr. Bascom is an upstanding man of the law, isn't he? Even though his agency opposes the Pure California Coalition and hasn't done much of anything to stop the rampant tech cartels in our lovely GLA. Actually, interjected Bascom, we just had a major bust in the Pasadena sector. We arrested a tech lord named Adelaide Muntz, and he told us some pretty interesting things.
At this, Bracken began to look nervous.
Oh, is that so? That's right, Bracken,
Bascom said, turning to the camera.
I think your audience would be interested to find out that he fingered you as a gout-up tech head.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the devious. Devious. All of them devious, but okay, I'm ready.
Oh, hang on. Let me guess.
Sure, kid.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Fanfic.
Real.
Wow.
Okay, there we go. We got the separation.
Oh, my God. All right. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. I mean, what's your confidence level here?
Low. Deeply low.
Mine is deeply low.
Less so in the I feel like that brunch. I don't know. My confidence is low. I thought the first two I was more confident in, but now I know how you feel.
Yeah. All right. Good.
All right. So I'll try to recap what we said as she's doing the recap. Maybe I'll have to pause.
Okay.
Anyway.
Number 1 was the scene with Gomez and the fortune teller robot. That was real.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
We both said fanfic
sorry.
for that one.
Oh, boy. Ooh, okay.
The robot disdainful madam.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, we both said fanfic.
And that was submitted by both Chap and Josh.
Wow, devious.
Number 2 is the conversation between Jake and Gomez about Gomez's diet. And that was fanfic.
All right.
Submitted by Ezra.
Nice. Okay. Number 3, we both said real.
Number 3, that was the fight between Cimarron and Gomez, and Cimarron pulled out the laser gun that was built into his middle finger. That was real,
Oh.
and that was submitted by Craig.
Okay. All right.
All right. Here's
So-
where we separate.
Now we separate. So we're 2 for 3 so far, but it's going to change. I said real for number 4. You said fanfic.
Number 4 was the one where Gomez is trying to get into the complex, but he has the wrong password. And that was real, and that was submitted by John.
Thank you, John.
That means that this is going to be the big
Yeah.
separation here, because this is going to be...
Whew. All right. So
Wow.
number 5, I said fanfic. You said real.
Number 5 was the scene where Bascom confronts Bracken in front of his television audience, and that was fanfic submitted by Cameron.
Yes, USA.
Oh, bloodbath.
Brutal.
Absolute bloodbath. Two for me.
Adelaide Muntz, a gout up tech head? I don't know.
Don't throw stuff at me and pretend.
No. I wasn't saying. I was saying that's like he did a great job of writing the fanfic. That sounds 100% Goodlardian.
Oh my god! All right.
Wow. Well, I mean, understandable rust, but darts, just blindfolded darts. I had my confidence as low as it's ever been.
Hey, Martin Luther, here I sit. I can do no other.
Thanks to Josh and Colette for doing that again. That's very fun.
Yes, very nice.
Chapter 17. This is Jake's meeting with Sam Hopkins, the slim black man of about 40.
Correct. This is an illegal meeting convened to conspire to commit criminal acts, announced the highest-ranking intruder, a lean sergeant. I know that's probably late into the game here, but...
That's appreciated, however.
Yes.
Speaking of lean, as Sam Hopkins is talking to Jake, he rubs his thin fingers over the bridge of his nose a few times. So,
ooh.
Thin, I think thin implies longness. Thin, stubby fingers would not be something that I would think is a realistic physical trait.
Okay, but, so this is where we learn that, so Sam worked for Sam Hopkins?
Yes.
Worked for Newton? You call it, what are you pronouncing it?
Newtown is how it's written, but like it's probably a joke. I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's the twins' pharmaceutical company.
Yes. The twins who are male and female.
Yes.
Who Hermione Earnshaw?
Hermione Earnshaw was Grossman's secretary or co-worker. I thought secretary, but Grossman was looking into the pharmaceutical company. He was poking around because they are doing something called Syntech, which is written SIN tech, but it's short for synthetic tech. So they say that it's a variant of tech that's non-addictive and doesn't have side effects like brain damage and seizures.
There it is. Yes, a safe electronic drug.
But like, is tech a non-synthetic drug? Like, is it something that they harvested out of poppies or something? It seems pretty futuristic to me. It's
a good question. It's an opioid, I guess. I don't know, that you put on chips the size of a cockroach. I don't know.
And so I think what's going on here is that the twins are using their R&D lab that they say is making Syntech to manufacture real tech. It's a pretty, a Scooby-Doo villain would be like, you got to throw a couple more layers into this plan. You need masks or something. If you're just, saying you're making Syntech, but making tech, that's not going to fool a lot of people.
Right. I guess it's the, what was the company that did opioids, but they just said, no, this is a long-lasting, non-addictive version. Just 100% lying. 100%.
The Sackler company. That's so I don't understand sort of how, like, it doesn't seem to me just like if it's I thought that tech was sort of addictive because you're living out any fantasy you want, so it's like the Gunter in Ready Player One, but I guess it's actually physically addictive. It's not just like I'm going to go into this world where I'm Batman and hanging out with models. Like, that would also seem to be addictive, but this can just do that without the actual. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Jake would go and throw the ball around with his kid or whatever. Wasn't that
right? Yeah, people have pretty lame fantasies. It's all reuniting with estranged family members. No one's, doing what they wish they could on prom night, but didn't have the guts to.
Isn't there? It's one of those. It's like the end of all those movies where, like, if you get to the end of the universe or whatever, all those highfalutin movies that last 3.5 hours, where you go into space and everything, and then you like meet your dad in a cornfield. Like, geez, that's your ultimate. That's the end to the whole universe. Like, anyway, I got to get back down to the factory. I just thought I'd say hey to you once again.
Yeah, not gonna say I love you. Nah, not even out here in the end of
you
space.
Know that. See ya.
Yeah.
Hey, you're. I think you're still sharing your screen, which you.
Oh
you
yeah,
don't
let's get
need
rid
to
of
do.
that.
Yeah. I mean, as good as it is, I can see you went to the Dome of the Rock or whatever.
Let's get rid of that.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So I guess she's doing Syntech is just fake. So the Winklevoss twins are making a new version of Tek and trying to sell it as real.
Yeah, and then I think that what the Dwight and Hermione found out was that a NorCal tech cartel had been working with the twins. So I guess they were funneling their actual tech to that cartel. And that's when the lean sergeant tries to arrest them both and stuns them both because they say they're resisting arrest.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yeah, this guy's a whistleblower, and Dwight was also a whistleblower. So these are sort of like these guys are faring about as well as Boeing whistleblowers at this point in time.
Right.
And then it cuts to an ample blonde android in a black bathing suit that says it's never too early to think about dying. So I thought that was going to be the main contender for the disdainful robot pimp's crown, but I guess we have a robot mistress coming up later, robot madam.
And she, the blonde, scratched her backside and looked disappointed. So they program that in. That was my question. Again, yeah, giving them genitals that can be punched and stuff like that. It seems the android reached to scratch her backside.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'm backed up, guys. This is not. The bosom ain't the only thing that's ample, if you know what I'm talking about. But then she says where to find their friend, I guess, or because they're looking for Susie. She rubbed her believable hands together dismissively and turned away from them.
This had to be submitted by a bunch of people, I'm assuming, right?
For sure. As a dumb sentence, yeah. I like noting that these androids, which we've been told repeatedly, can resemble the hottest woman on earth, Beth Kittredge, but we need to be told that their hands are believable.
That seems like, isn't that like AI can't do when it's trying to create someone can't do
true.
hands?
The hardest thing for it to do. Yeah. It's a beautiful cabin crew, but all their hands have 6 gnarled, thin but stubby fingers, so you can tell they're not realistic. They're not long and graceful.
Believable hands. Okay.
This is an exchange these two had. This is Dan and his girlfriend Molly. As they headed up to the next level of the vast store, Dan said, "Did you see any of the coffins you really liked? Saw one I might pop you into if you don't cease trying to be the Gomez of your generation." What did he do that was the Gomez? Gomez has one defining trait as far as we know, which is that he says, where might I find that coffin shop, amigo? Or where might I find the coffin tienda?
Well, I mean, to be fair, he does have one other trait. He has a misty mustache that he occasionally knuckles. Yes.
Sorry. Well, I guess we can assume that's what Jake was doing. He's got one of those crappy middle school mustaches, and he's trying to get knuckling it to be a thing. And she's like, "Would you please shave that? It's grossing me out. It looks like a dog shed on your upper lip."
But then I wrote this a long time ago. I present it to you, people listening, and you'll have to live with it. I just wrote yuck next to this. That'll be $300, kiddies. Dan said, $300, that'll be fine. I have the bank's chits right here. Molly reached into her pocket and produced a handful of money. So money, not bank chits.
Sure.
But the kiddies, just everything, I don't know. I was grossed out by that. And
so
horrified.
He thinks they're going into, just the hourly motel room, essentially.
I don't know. Lovebirds, I guess they're going to a coffin.
But it's the coffin shop. Well, the coffin shop is where the tech den is. So I guess you can go to it's like you can go to the tech den with a girlfriend or something, and then you have the shared tech experience.
I guess, yeah. You could dive into the toilet and try to get the whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the future people are weird. Come on.
Yeah.
Just go park your car, neck, like we did back in the day.
when we listened to Larry King, that whippersnapper.
That brings us to chapter 18, which Jake awakes with a pain in his chest because he's been tased by the police who made off with Sam, the whistleblower.
Oh, right. Okay. Where did he go to meet Sam? I forget.
The Newtown sector, the dangerous place with the police state.
Okay, yes. And that's where he was hiding out because he's a whistleblower. Okay.
And it was also Newtown Pharmaceuticals, which is, I guess, bought the naming rights to Newtown sector. I don't know.
Right.
Like SoFi Field or something.
Yes.
It says that he's concentrating, working to keep all the assorted pains from overwhelming him. Jake succeeded in sitting up. Next, groaning and muttering, he swung his bare feet over to the side of the bed. I mean,
he awakened on a wide oval bed, one that was covered with a soft, pale pink thermo quilt. Thermo quilt, really? Did you read? You read Moby Dick, right?
I have not. I'm sorry.
Damn it. No. Well, anyway,
the thermoquilts play a big role.
No, but it's a big part of it is that they talk a lot about he and Queequeg share a counterpane.
Okay.
And then it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, I'm going to ignore that word because obviously that is never going to come up again, whatever the... Like, then the counterpane kept slipping down, so I grabbed the counterpane. It's like, all right, I'll look this up. And counterpane is just a blanket.
A blanket?
A bed covering. Counterpane? That's, anyway, thermoquilt reminded me of that. Like, look, I'm going to give you one thermoquilt.
Yeah, it just comes up again.
Throwing this book across the room if you do it again.
I'm surprised Goulart has resisted that. Then counterpane seems like it's like a Swartzweldian term on The Simpsons. They get
Yes.
Mr. Burns to use. You know, Smithers. I know you've shared the counterpane with many a man.
I have, sir.
And then he tries to get up, but then his left leg refuses to function, and he went falling to the floor with a thud, which made me just wonder how many of these books involved, how many times he's been stunned, collapsed, dove through a doorway in this book combined. Maybe Zach can give us a count on all of those, but he does seem to just collapse in pain or unconscious a lot in these books.
It does seem a very Kirk thing of there's just a little bit of blood in the corner of his mouth, which lets you know, and then he can go like that, and okay, he's back.
Knuckles it out of his mustache, sure.
Yeah. Yes.
And then Casey shows up. That is the one he went to Underground with. Casey Bascom. No,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, Casey's the one. He's kind of dating her, right?
Oh, so that's not Kay then.
Oh no, Kay is. Hang on, let me go back to my.
Bascom is his wife's daughter.
Kay Norwood is dating Walt Bascom. Was previously dating Dwight Grossman.
Okay.
So that Dwight Grossman thing. So then KC, did you say?
KC is the daughter of the Rush Limbaugh stand-in, who he went to
the
land of the Mopek with, and they discovered Hermione Earnshaw's smoldering body.
Okay, Bev Kendricks is the other. Okay.
Who is not Beth Kitteridge.
Casey is Bracken's daughter.
Yes, Bracken.
Okay, There we go.
And I guess she has hauled him off back to her bedroom, which is where he's woken up with the roses and the thermoquilts and all this stuff around. Yes.
Sure.
And she's like, I got you out of jail once you got arrested. And he's sort of just like, the police claimed you were arrested for operating a sky car while under the influence of stimulants. And he says, what did they do with Sam, essentially? And she says, maybe I can find out. I never heard of him till now. Tell me something about him. He works for Newtown Pharmaceuticals in the publicity wing, 40 or thereabouts on the slim side. He's black, and then they might have taken him to the colored holding facility. I haven't heard of that, says Jake. Well, the Pure California Coalition is very strong in Newtown, and they got that through last year. You might have led with that. That just sort of seems like a defining aspect of the Newtown sector then. Hachi Machi.
That was one that I don't think I can't claim that I was actually taking a sip of something. but let's just pretend that I was. I was like, that can't be. Like rereading it, looking at it, enlarging the text. Like, oh, it does say that. Oh,
Jeez.
heavens.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's, it's sort of like sci-fi hackery 101 is, just being like, what if things that happened in the past, we do them again now, like type of thing. So.
Yeah, there was also Bridget and I watched a really, really stupid movie. I don't even want to call it out. It was so dumb, but it's like, how a guy's smoking a cigar and going like, get me another machine gun. We're like, is that the good guy? He seems so good. Like, oh, are you a colored piece of crap? It was just like, my God, man, just layer it on. Like, he can't be subtle in any way.
Right. So that's a kind of grim.
It is grim.
And then she just says, all this investigation, there's all these people are dead. And she says, so this all ties in with my father then, why he was framed. So she's, acknowledging the framing. Everyone's acknowledging the framing, and they take off. And she's going to fill him in on the way, or Jake's going to fill her in on the way.
I believe at one point, though, this is from the book, so slight language warning here.
Okay.
If you know much more, Casey, they'll put you on the shit list, too. Do you have a shit list? I should get a shit list.
That would really be handy.
Just have it like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, hey, could you help me move, Mike? Like, oh, hang on. Just check my shit list. I'm afraid you are on it. What did I do? I don't know. I put it on there back in like 2012. I have no idea what you did, but you're on it, so I can't do it.
History might judge it a little more favorably if Nixon had just acknowledged it was called the shit list,
Yes.
His enemies list. That would have been.
We've got to expand that list.
I'm going to mount it right behind my monitor here so I can look at it every time we do one of these calls. Got a new edition.
Yep. Well, I'm looking at who wrote that fanfic or submitted the real things, and guess what? The list is growing.
My friend did have a list in college. He just called it the list, and it was a list of people who did not deserve to live.
Wow.
And so, the minorest infraction, he would sort of start. He didn't keep it in an actual piece of paper, but it was all up here. And usually, 1 a.m. after a night of drinking, there would be someone who would end up on the list. Walk in the next day. Well, I'm on the list. I'm on the D-Dogs list.
Sounds very Kramerish.
Chapter 19. They are breaking into the door where the hairless man is attacking Susan. And he responds by giving a high-pitched grunt, lifted Susan high, and hurled her into the oncoming young man. So he full out does a Arrested Development move. He throws her into the
Shoot me
into the rescuers.
And also, speaking of Simpsons, the scream, the high-pitched.
Right, because he's the piping guy.
Flanders.
Yeah, and then says, "You little bastards are going to cease to be," he promised in his piping voice.
That was my Sonic challenge to you.
Oh, well, there we go. Preempted.
Now from his shoulder holster, the hairless man. I'm giving you that as your backstory.
Okay.
Pretend that you're hairless. Ripped out his las gun, we still haven't decided. Snarling, he took 3 steps forward. You little bastards are going to cease to be, he promised in his piping voice.
All right. I didn't snarl either. So it's like
you're hairless, you snarl, here you go.
You little bastards are going to cease to be. That's a promise.
All right. I like it, yes.
That's, not intimidating, but then again.
It was very sort of, like Herbie? No, like Herbie from the Village of Misfit Toys. No, he has more of a, more of a that voice.
Thinking the Rick and Morty character, Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Mr. Poopy Butthole, yeah.
Sure, that's
right.
it.
Yes.
And they 3 of them run away from the guys because how do they knock him out? I don't remember.
They knock out Jake?
No, they knock out the bald. The
hairless man.
Bald, yeah.
He dropped on the.
Molly stuns him.
Yes, arms flapping. The hairless man sat on the bed. maybe on the counterpane, it's hard to say, tottered, rocked back and forth, then dropped over onto the floor, out cold.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a lot of
scarecrow dancing.
Yes, did a lot of Curly from the Three Stooges before just passing out. Turned on his heel and did the.
So, brother, then Jake and Susan. Sorry, not Susan. Jake and Kayla. Correct.
Kayla.
Oh no, Jake is driving home in his car by himself, and Dan calls him to say, like, all right, we rescued Susan, and Jake's like, I know a tech cartel's involved in this. You've got to be careful. Jake describes the hairless man as a lout once more, and then they go to visit. Who does Molly and Dan go to visit?
I don't know. I just want to make a note of what Jake says as he's in the Sky car.
Yeah.
And he sets it on an automatic homeward course. By morning, this is the narrator, by morning I ought to feel fit again. As fit as a weather-beaten codger has any right to feel, he said. So no one was talking to him. He just said that out of the blue.
Right.
So the people in his car would be
saying.
like, Jake?
Yeah.
You obviously got to hit harder. Why don't you let me? Well, it's on automatic pilot, so yeah. But who are you saying this to?
It's like when the Alexa just starts talking out of the blue, and you're like, "What the hell woke her up?"
And what is a codger? And what is weather beaten? We have so many questions, Jake.
Yeah, more weather beaten codgers and old coots in these books, I think, would be. Come on, skin flints maybe.
Wow, you skin flints.
So that where they go is they take Susan home, and her mother-in-law June Stackpool I do not think is there, so they're able to they meet with Jake. He interviews Susan about like her visions and all she's been having, and she said, "Not until I had the vision of them killing my brother last night." So all this has been 24 hours, which was very sobering for me to realize. It's been a hell of a day.
Yes. June Ann Stackpool was not there?
Yeah, my brother wasn't especially fond of June Ann Stackpool. I don't know where she is. Maybe her father did throw her out and her tech vision's going to come true. She describes her as my father's female companion. So I don't know what maybe that's just how they describe that relationship in 100 years. They've gone through like girlfriend, partner, all that thing. And now just female companion is how they describe that relationship.
And Dr. Stolzer comes up a lot. That's where they quirked her brain. They tried to fix Susan, right?
Yeah,
After
she
her
thinks
tech stuff.
She thinks that could be the cause of her visions. He quirked her brain with electroshock therapy.
Okay.
But I think Dr. Stolzer, I presume, will remain off camera. Maybe they'll go back there and see if they can, quirk more people's brains. Brain quirking. That's another good Swartzweldian thing for Mr. Burns to talk about.
Brain quirk. Yes.
And they talk about Jake. Jake talks about his own struggles with getting clean and credits Dan and Sid Gomez with helping him get clean and says, if I can do it, you can do it too, Susan.
I do not remember that. I think they talk about the hairless man, or she does?
The hairless lout, yeah.
The other one was a big guy with no hair to speak of. And then later, it's like, we sure all saw the bald guy tonight, put in Molly as she went over to sit beside her forlorn friend. He was trying to kill Sue.
Mm-hmm. Like,
look, you're either bald or you're not. You don't describe a bald person as someone with no hair to speak of, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like when a newborn has sort of like the peach fuzz, that's hair.
Where a guy goes bald, where he gets that. Have you seen the like guys with the perfect ring of hair that looks like a monkey? Like a tonsure, like he shaved
for sure.
it. Like I guess he has no hair to speak of. I mean, he does have hair, but if you're bald, you just go like, yeah, this bald guy.
Yeah, this guy has no eyebrows. I think they were meaning to say like completely like alopecia bald.
Yes.
So.
You don't point across the bar to like, which guy is it? Oh, it's the guy standing by the bar there. Like, what is he? He's no hair to speak of. Like, well, that describes like 7 guys along the bar. You mean the bald guy? Yes.
Please, her brain has been quirked, Mike.
That is true.
That's probably something that has an effect on it. Her sizing up of hairlessness levels.
Yes.
The chapter 20, the only thing in the first section I note is that Jake he straddles a chair like a cool substitute teacher.
Oh,
Michelle
okay.
Pfeiffer in Dangerous Minds. He does that as he talks to Bev Kendricks, who's running her own detective agency.
Yes, Bev Kendricks runs her own. Yes.
Okay. And she alerts him that the girl twin, Rebecca Burden, has been spending a lot of time in the Caribbean, and they don't know what she's doing down there. But I think they are raising suspicion about the Caribbean factoring into the tech or syntech manufacturing process.
Yes, but he talks to his computer to get that, right? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay, because he goes to... Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, sorry. Because he goes to Bev, and he just, like, kisses her, and she's like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, they both say the Caribbean. Okay, the
Yes.
computer and the Cosmos Detective Agency's info center.
Oh, God.
One word.
The computer, it has 6 large comp screens.
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to remember this, but I'm sure it stood out to many of our listeners, but the computer is serving him coffee.
Yes.
And he's like, he takes a small sip from his Plio mug.
Near calf.
The computer says, I was expecting a more enthusiastic response to my homemade cappuccino near calf. And he says, Alec, you're a computer, and this is an office situation, so the word homemade doesn't actually apply. And then he's just like, the computer keeps needling him. If our homemade near calf operation doesn't catch on, you lugs will have to send out again. The cappuccino is great. It hits the spot. Come on. And provided me with, having a nozzle can be painful, continued the computer, but feeling that no sacrifice is too great for you lads, he's just jacking the whole computer serving caffeinated beverages that aren't very good and taking offense to it from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's like a major,
is that what I wondered?
A major plot point is that you can't get good tea from this thing, and the computer sort of is, cheerful about it, but is incompetent at the whole thing. So it's a very strange thing to adapt in your science fiction novel when it's already been done much better in a very famous science fiction novel.
See, I thought it was just one of those commitments to a gag. I mean, this happens to, we've written a lot of things where you're like, I think something's funny, I'm going to revisit it. And, as the editing team just looks at your thing that you thought was funny, is like, we didn't think it was funny the first time.
He hung 10 lines on that.
And I hung a lot on that. Whoops, we're going to have to rebuild it all. That's what I thought here. Like, it's not funny the first time that the computer spits out terrible coffee. And then the computer's like, how do you like that? Terrible coffee, eh? Like, get out of here, computer. The gag didn't work, but I didn't know it was based on something.
I mean, based on very similar to Who's to Say, completely outright stolen. I'm not here to judge. What I am here to do is issue a Sonic challenge.
Oh, I have one too.
Okay, is it after the line? Not a very prepossessing chap.
I don't know. You'll have to. What is it?
Okay, he wants to know if a goon is on their payrolls.
Yes.
And then after he asked that question, the computer made a dry clacking sound for nearly 15 seconds.
In fact, I did have the same. Gosh, how could I prove this right here? You can see it at the top there. The Sonic challenges, and then said, "Look at screen 3."
I mean, I'll be happy to do it if you're going to time me.
All right, time me. I'll do it.
Okay. Nearly 15 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Look at screen 3. How'd I do?
Clacking was like, it could have been drier, I feel like, but I'll accept it.
It was wetter than I wanted. Well, how about the 15 seconds?
That was good. Yeah, that was right on time.
Okay. I only counted it. I didn't look at my watch, so that's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Again, your computer starts making a dry clacking sound for 15 seconds. Do you, race to unplug it to save data before it can reformat itself.
Yes.
That's like when an Xbox starts making that grinding noise, you're like, ah, damn it, the red ring of death.
As when my son was in high school, we gave him a laptop, and we're like, look, you're on your own with the laptop. And apparently it was like a lemon or something, but he was downstairs and he was calling and got like a person in India who was telling him what to do. Mm-hmm. And he's like, on the screen, I see this. And he reads out what, he's like a sophomore in high school. Uh-huh. And the person on the other end of the line, because he's got the phone on, goes, unplug it now, sir. Unplug it now. Immediately unplug. He's like, what? Like, do it now. Like, first clip the blue wire. Oh, God, don't do that.
There's 3 blue wires.
My son just like, I'm just trying to get my computer.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that was one of those computers you weren't allowed to bring on a plane for 3 years. Like,
I guess so.
And so I guess they find that there is they confirm there's a facility in the Caribbean ran by someone named Malcolm Summerson. So yet another off-character person who's a former Oregon State militia officer who Jake also refers to as a lout. And then goes on to inform him that his buddy Sam Hopkins is not in the prison. He has been found dead on the beach in Long Beach, the Long Beach sector that morning.
And it was the cops who pulled him out, right? When they were,
yes,
he was doing okay.
Like the cops sort of run that area.
Okay, so that was
they're saying it was suicide, but guessing their body cameras are going to be turned off before that happens.
Sure. So the final chapter, 21.
Woohoo!
It starts with a bang.
Oh, please.
All caps, the. I always like
nice.
The naked young woman seated herself before the dressing room mirror.
Nice.
Now, we got a lot of fanfic off of this one because this is
Marnie.
Yes, Marnie is the naked young woman, and she's dressing up as Pistol Packin' Marnie. Inquired the large, wide black man who pushed in, smiling. Oh boy. But she's a stripper, and I mean these are new characters, right?
This is the first time that Pistol Packin' Marnie has been introduced, yes, and presumably the large, wide black man as well.
Okay, so I would just like to point out, let's see, Jake, at the end of the last chapter, Sam Hopkins was dead on the sand.
Okay.
A page later, what's your name? My name is Sam Cimarron.
Oh, my God.
What, this can't be a mistake. Why does he have the same name? Why does he have Sam?
I mean, is that the black name in the future? Is that something that Goulart's trotting out? I don't know. I
don't know.
And Sam Cimarron is also an unfortunate name from a pronunciation standpoint. But
when I'm not acting as a talent agent, I serve in assorted capacities for Sleeper Ferris.
Now, Sleeper Ferris is a Mr. Burns name. It's like, Sleeper Ferris. I saw him play the hot corner at Shibe Park.
He had power to both fields, could hit up the middle. Sleeper Ferris.
Saw him sock a dinger off of Hardtack McGinty.
He went yard.
But yeah, so he bursts in, says, "Hey, Marnie, I'm your new agent." And because she owes him money, 16,000 Plaz dollars, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of saying like, the VIG is still running. So unless you do this for me, like we got a big problem here. And what she wants is for her to keep an eye on Sid Gomez while he's there in Texas. Cause she's obviously a cowboy, old timey stripper. So that must be Texas where that's taking place.
Well, that brings me to, you gave me a Sonic challenge. I see your Sonic challenge and I raise you a Sonic challenge.
Oh boy, is there any dry clacking involved?
And by the way, I won't even take, this is Sam Cimarron, a large, wide black man, but I believe he is a cyber being, right? He's
okay. Pressure of his metal fingers increased on her shoulders, so he's at least cyborgish.
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 So this is him. And by the way, I won't even take the usual agent's fee out of your $2,500. After almost a full minute, she asked, when do I go to Sweetwater? Right now, Cimarron answered.
All right.
You ready?
Okay.
Can't look at your clock. I will start the timer, and then we'll see if you can recreate this.
Okay, so I am a pistol packing Marnie, a Texan stripper who owes a robot I owe who? Sleepy Ferris, $16,000. I'm just to get into character.
Yep, Sleepy Ferris.
Give me the cue.
And I'm telling. Okay, I will give you the cue, and then we'll start. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to do my cyborg, my best. I'm a cyborg. Yeah. Okay, I'm wide. Okay, and comma. By the way. Comma, I won't even take the usual agent's fee out of your $2,500.
Gotta go on stage and take off my clothes for some money, but that's
will not take
over there to
the $2,500.
I should work a carrot into my axe, but that's hard to do if I have to give this guy the money. So, what was that?
Huh?
Oh, no, sorry.
I didn't.
I thought you said something. No,
I didn't. I was just standing here, being wide,
pondering the old offeroonie is what I'm doing here. I could use a better corset for my axe, but I can't buy one of those unless I eliminate this debt. But Sleepy Ferris is kind of a rough guy, so not a guy you want to owe money to. I just thinking about how to. When do I go to Sweetwater?
Right now.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, it took just a little while to wrap my head around the whole situation. It's just, you're in one mindset, then you get presented with another one, and it's like, I was about to strip, now I'm talking about debt.
1 minute 27.
Okay, well, it did feel long. I will give you that.
Did it now? I wonder if our listeners will feel the same way about that.
We once did 2 minutes live on stage. It was one of the more awkward moments of our life. Every minute feels longer. So
she does it, obviously. Well, right now is the end of it. We assume she took the money.
Well, I think that she's doing it to wipe out the money. So I think she's going there.
Yeah. She's
going to get involved with Gomez.
She's going to wipe out the money to, what is his name? Sleeper Ferris.
Yeah, I like Sleepy Ferris.
She owes him $15,900, which is kind of like a, when they mark up something, let's just call it $1,600.
Right. Yeah. That's your job as a loan shark's goon. You just round, and now it's $1,600 because you're taking a full minute to answer my question.
But then all of this reading ends with a sassy conversation between Jake and a cab. Yeah. A sky cab? Yes, the sky cab.
Oh, my God.
And the sky cab talks to him. And the sky cab is like Microsoft Bob or something, where you're like, for God's sake, shut up. And then, but they acknowledge that. The sky cab is like, I can stop talking if you want. Like, oh, God.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say to my Uber driver. This is what the sky cab says to him after saying annoying, like, what are you going there for? What do you do? Hey, big shooter, what's going on? If I'm bending your ear too much, just push that green button on the panel there. Jake responded, just so I get to the skyport on time, your babble doesn't faze me. So I want to say that to my Uber driver and see how he reacts.
That would be good. Wow, banned from the service before you even drop me off? How did that happen?
1 star? Can you give 1 star?
Yeah, if there's ever any sort of intelligent it was bad enough when cabs were you were like, hey, it's Vinny Testaverde. Welcome to a yellow cab.
Yeah.
The Metropolitan Transit Department has, if they ever start actually interacting with you to make jokes about LA weather, it's going to be, it's the end of this AI craze right then and there.
I told you my son's favorite thing of going to he'd have to go to Nashville and he lived in Nashville, so he'd take an Uber from the airport and it'd be like, yep, that's what I told Johnny when I was playing guitar for him. My son would heave the sigh and go like, Johnny Cash. But I bring it up only because I know I brought it up before, because my son said that something like that actually happened like the other day to him.
Wow.
Where he's like, I know who you're saying, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And he's like, are you talking about? That's right. It was Barbara Streisand. God, son of a, why did I do it?
I was playing with Sturgill S. I know. Yep. Sturgill Simpson. Why did you even pretend like there was ambiguity there? Wow. And the Vox cab crashes.
Yes.
And it crashes into the Long Beach sector. And that's where we end our current reading.
It landed hard, bounced twice, and ceased to function. And all of those, of course, surrounded by commas. For you comma haters out there.
Thank you. Comma haters, italicized word haters. It's a hater's paradise here in the future.
Yes.
Speaking of the haters, let's see what the Jackals submitted for their dumb sentences of the week.
Okay.
Dumb sentence of the week.
Before we get to the dumb sentences, I just one email this week, just to make us not go too long. This is from Nathan. This is a weird message to send, but my dad used to sleep with a pajama top or shirt with no bottoms, just like Walt Baskin. He would throw on a tattered robe sometimes, but never have anything downstairs. Out of all the stuff in this book, I was not expecting to have this memory brought back. So
I agree with him. This first sentence. This is a weird email.
Nathan emailing about his dad going full Donald Duck is
wow. Nice.
That's just the sort of relationship we have with our audience that makes this podcast so special.
That's nice. Yeah.
Dumb sentences from our listeners, the beloved jackals of patreon.com/372 pages. Jackson submitted, it can't, nope, be anything like that. It can't, nope, be anything like that. That's how people talk. Cameron and Balaji submitted the ample blonde android in the black bathing suit, said it's never too early to think about dying. Mike T submitted, Jake made a groaning noise, rubbing his palm across his chest, and he just wondered what would have been so wrong about simply saying Jake groaned. Jacob submitted, now really, I don't think Colonel Burns, who's a close personal friend of my employer, J.J. Bracken, would want us to be delayed in our mission, fellows. And he says, as dumb and clumsy as the exposition in the sentence is, I'm thankful for the reminder of who's who, because with so many richly drawn characters, I can't keep anybody straight. I'm glad it's just not us. Piper submitted, you little bastards are going to cease to be, he promised in a piping voice, as Sonic challenged. John submitted, certainly, but since it's not entirely legal or kosher, it'll take a minute longer, answered the computer. He asked if the computer needed to consult a rabbi. Jay submitted, actually, the company was owned by Roland and his twin sister, Rebecca. And he says this is the one time that there's actually a missing comma after actually. The fact that it makes this sentence a fragment, the fact that it is a sentence fragment that corrects the previous line of the book is the topper. Colin submitted, the golden-haired blonde doll suggested. He said, that's redundant and stupid. That might have been from our last section. That was one with the talking dolls. Damn you, Colin. Amy submitted, the computer made a dry clacking sound for nearly 15 seconds, and she suggested, so does that mean 14 seconds? Claire submitted, for good and sufficient reasons, but reasons, Gomez, that are unknown to me. She says, what reason could possibly have to structure a sentence that way? Heather submitted, strive to remain alive. And she said, this is said by the head of a hard-boiled detective agency that's being framed for murder, but he still has time to rhyme. Mike submitted, aloud, in a dry, rusty voice, Jake speculated, what kind of hell sort of jail is this? I somehow missed that sentence. That is Goulardian as hell. Janelle and Jody both submitted, Gomez knuckled his misty mustache.
Of course.
Misty mustache hop off of Led Zeppelin 4. That's anyone?
I don't know.
Hello? Is this on? Mark submitted, you ought to see this, Bascom, suddenly said the Vox box beneath the dash panel phone screen. He says, Vox boxes can talk. Why isn't it a dash panel? Dash panel was spread out to be 2 words there. Mark wants it to be 1. I agree with Mark. I don't know if you listened to the stuff I posted while you were recovering, but Mark is the guy who alerted us about Caleb's dream, and he wrote into with his review of Caleb's new book.
Oh, dear. I had not. I'm sorry.
Which he does not recommend anyone listen to. So,
okay.
anyone read or that we cover. So, but it is many of the same, lots of breakfast cook. Ron Vieg submitted, somebody killed her, he answered, in the back with a laser gun. He says, sometimes the books you choose make me question my English skills, but killed in the back? He says, I don't care if you actually say that. I'm going to start using it. George submitted, give me, I'd appreciate it, your honest opinion.
Wow.
Ben submitted, she was frightened, too, as well as ashamed of herself. Alejandro submitted, and he was, in a leisurely manner that allowed him to chat with the more important guests, headed for the small table where she was sitting, alone and angry. And he speculated this must have been one of Goulart's toilet works, as Shatner called him out on in his dedication.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right.
Amanda submitted, she rubbed her believable hands together dismissively. Nathan submitted, that was sort of a business-like kiss now that I think about it. Jessica submitted, the computer said, no, really, Jake, you can level with me. Give me, I'd appreciate, oh, sorry, I guess that's the setup. Give me, I'd appreciate it, your honest opinion. I think we covered that one. Hayden submitted, the large living room had a beamed ceiling of real wood and the floor was of real tile. And he said, real as opposed to what? Tile can be any material. It's from the tile mines of the Arizona sector. Josh submitted, this is the last one. I've also discovered, this is the thus of which for this book. Speaking of Caleb. In chapter 17, Molly accuses Dan of being the Gomez of our generation. And he replies, Sid's a clever guy. And then he says, Molly says, this incomprehensible mess. For them as cherishes clever guys.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I didn't even know. I thought like misprint or something.
Yeah, that seems like a bad, the translating software you used to cheat on your high school Spanish homework. Wow. Like, comes out reading like that. And that's it. I have, do I have ones that got burnt? Plaz Rectangle from Slack's Pocket got burnt.
I don't have any that didn't get burned. I just want to bring this up. This is going back, so this is not a bad sentence or a dumb sentence. The bald guy, the guy who has no hair to speak of.
Okay.
When the computer looks at him, they see at one point, they're like, is that him? And he was wearing a like fright wig and cheap mustache.
Right.
And I forgot to point that out. Like,
yes.
That's the bald guy's disguise. It's like he goes to the Halloween store and, like he's going to hold the John 3:16 sign. And
that's a rainbow wig. And I think that the way I read that was like his pharmaceutical company photo, like on his badge. So on photo day, he went in wearing that. It was like, up against the wall there. So that was his
hairless dude. Are you just take the picture, man?
It's against HR for you to call me out on this. This could be my real hair. The one I had was this is talking about down in the subterranean jungles of the Mopek Empire. There were 9 Neo wood huts in the small clearing in the holographic jungle that the Pure California Coalition used as its main base. It's just dumb. It's dumb and even dumber when you realize what the Pure California Coalition are all about.
I'm probably confess that I'm not sure I've ever had. Well, I think in my current home, I think I have pure hardwood, But I probably have neo wood in old places where
nice.
where it looks like wood, but it's neo wood. Like it's plaques, whatever.
Maybe it's like when we were moving into our new place, and you'd look at places, and they'd be like, "So the flooring is luxury vinyl," which they just, linoleum got a big glow up in the past 30 years, and it's now just no house we ever looked at just had vinyl floors. It was all luxury vinyl, and I could really luxuriate in it when I saw that. It was nice.
I remember when high fructose corn syrup tried to rebrand, and they were calling themselves corn sugar. And I was like, it just didn't catch on. People were like, this is, they've tried it on a couple labels, and people are like, what is this? What's corn sugar?
Yeah, and they came up with that's the better name, high fructose corn. I mean, that's just, hard to say. No one knows what it is, but yep, you blew it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right.
Well, I'm glad to be back in the swing of things. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for everyone. Everyone that was very kind to me when I haven't checked in much, I admit, because I've been in a lot of pain, and so I just didn't want to. I'm sorry to end them, but it's just been a thing that's kind of kept me from it. But anyway, thank you for everyone's well wishing towards me, and I'm on the mend.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you don't want to do that in pain. You check out this. You don't want to end up lashing out at any jackals in the comments or something like that, and then having to blame it on that. That's Lord knows I'm tempted to.
Plus, if it's really funny, and then I would start, and I would be like the last man on earth, where I would laugh, like someone would send me a funny video, and I go, and then 10 minutes of just crying. Like, nobody wants that, so I've just avoided it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks, everybody who bared with us along the way, and we'll be back with some more.
All right. Thanks all.